The Commerce Show.
Yes, my people. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in the globe. This is your darling program, The Comrade and Friends, a segment of The Comrade Show. I want to say a very happy new year to all our wonderful fans out there. Today being the 8th of January 2023, a brand new year indeed. You recall that this show was last aired on Christmas Day the 25th. And out of respect and courtesy for all, we decided not to have a program on the 1st of January 2023. But today we are here to carry on. And like we always say, the show must go on. Your Sunday tonic must be served. And I want to say thank you so much to all our viewers far and wide across the globe who have continuously joined us in 2022, and we are again starting 2023, and we know you'll be there. It's even more important and pertinent given the fact that this year 2023 is the most talked about election that will change our country indeed for good. As usual, I'm not alone. Today being the first program of the year, we have the complete musketeers and obedient in the house. Without further ado, I'm going to introduce them. And also to let you know that we have a very important guest in the house today who will be talking about 2023 election. This gentleman is a man that knows what it takes to do election. He is a true defender of the faith of democracy. Little wonder I tell you, he is a PDP man, but he's seriously, unapologetically obedient. I will let you know once I introduce the comrade. In the house today, we have our brain box, no other but obedient Dr. Tony Agbonse Ife. Dr. Tony Agbons, our people want to see you this bright 2023. Greet our people.
Yes, so thank you, my big brother there, obedient pharmacist Remira. Our people, I salute all of you now. You know, get there wherever you are in the world joining us today. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. I wish all of you a very successful 2023. Indeed, a great year for our country, Nigeria. You know the drill. Please share this broadcast on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, IG, everywhere, because we have a big elephant in the house. You are all welcome.
Thank you so much, my brother, the brain box, obedient Dr. Tony Agbons. Whenever I see you putting on that lovely cap and your native, you remind me of a great Nigerian, a true Bendelite and a true Edo State man. No other but the former governor of the old Bende State, Professor Folosho Ali. Thank you so much, my big brother, Dr. Tony Agbons. It's always a pleasure to be in your company. I would now want to introduce the Ogumagala of the house, the man that knows it, the man that knows the local government, our CNC. No other but the Grand Commander, obedient Comrade Lantepo Osariaki, GCO. Please greet our people.
Thank you very much, my brother, obedient pharmacist Iremio. Nigerians, greetings to you all across the world. It's the Comrade Show, the Comrade and Friends. I want to wish everybody Happy New Year. It's our first broadcast for the year on the Comrade and Friends section. And of course, we have somebody very interesting. Somebody is bringing dynamism to the politics of Nigeria. Just stay with us, share the broadcast, and of course, invite friends and families. Let's get this rolling. Yes, thank you very much. Over to you, Pharmacist Ramira.
Thank you so much, obedient Comrade Lantepo Osariaki. If not for the respect I have for you, I probably will be sharing that title with you. Because since you got the GCO, you have been looking even more sweeter, beautiful, and lovely. Madam must be doing a lot for you. Thank you so much. Happy New Year, my brother. It's good to see you. Fans and viewers of the Comrade Show, like Lamte said, today is very interesting. It's interesting because you agree with me that our country is on the cliff, on the precipice, and 2023 election is going to be a watershed moment where things indeed must happen. And for all positive mind, we know there's only one whistle blowing. That whistle is for Peter Gregory Obi. But we are not going to talk today. We have somebody in the house who has taken an uncommon decision that even many Nigerians are surprised about. This gentleman is a strong PDP stalwart, but is rooting for the emergence of Obi Dati because he thinks that is the only way. So today we shall be engaging him. He's right in the house in situ and he's going to talk to us and let us know why he's doing this. And if you're out there and you are still not made up your mind, I believe after today's conversation, you will have no reason but to take that gauntlet and begin to root for Obi. On that note, I want to introduce a chieftain of the PDP, coordinator PDP for Peter Obi, and director of mobilization, Nigeria Diaspora Youth Coalition. No other but a dynamic man, a young man who knows his onions. Welcome to our show and greet our viewers. Ogbeide Ifaluyi-Isibor.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for the amazing introduction. I deeply appreciate it, and a happy new year to you and your amazing crew. It's indeed a pleasure to be here today and to express my views on certain national issues as touching Nigeria. And I'm really excited about it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ogbeide Ifaluyi-Isibor. You are looking very radiant with your blue on blue. Lovely. There is no time because there's a lot to unpack. Ogbeide Ifaluyi-Isibor, you are everywhere. Members and fans of the Comrade Show want to meet you. Can you just use the next few minutes to talk about yourself, what you stand for, before I give the baton to Comrade to begin to fire you with questions? When you come to Comrade Show, you are on the hot seat. Ogbeide Ifaluyi-Isibor, Comrade Show, the team and viewers want to meet you. Who are you?
Thank you so much again. I'm excited to be on the hot seat. For me, sitting on the hot seat makes me feel really important, makes me feel that I have something to say. And I'm not new to being on hot seats. I've been doing this for quite a while. And so I appreciate it. Ogbeide is my name. Ogbeide Ifaluyi-Isibor. I'm a Nigerian and I'm a politician. But first of all, I'm an engineer. I studied production engineering from the University of Benin. That's about a decade and a half ago, and I practiced engineering. I've worked in the federal civil service for at least 10 years before I retired, and I focus more now on my private business, and I'm actively involved in politics as a vocation because if we are to make any real impact in our society, we must be a part of the political system since we practice a democracy. And so for me, politics is part of my life, is what I'm going to be doing for a long time, even as I encourage younger people to get involved in it. And so I'm a family man. I have a beautiful wife and two sons. And I think there's not so much about me. You know, a lot of people know me already. They know that I like trouble, and some call it violence. You know, for me, I just feel that at every point in time, people must stand up to speak on behalf of the people. And then when good men keep quiet, we will only make the avenue larger for the wrong people to continue to lead. So I see myself as one of those who has taken up the duty to speak for the people and to express my views, however inconvenient it may be, as long as those are my views and my conscience is clear. I have no doubts about it.
Thank you so much, Ogbeide Ifaluyi-Isibor. Just before we came online, I asked you, why are you shaking the table? I haven't listened to you. I think you are not just shaking tables, you are moving mountains. Dr. Tony Agbons, 49 days to Nigeria election, February 2025. 2023. We have Ifaluyi-Isibor with us, Ogbeide Ifaluyi-Isibor. Please, can you serve him your first question?
Yeah, thank you, my brother. And I'm going to serve him a very hot one from my intro here. Yes, thank you very much for being with us today, Mr. Isibor, despite your tight schedule. Looking at you, I've been, following you recently, on social media and across the other media outlets. You are a chieftain of the People's Democratic Party. And here you are coordinating a group known as PDP for Obi. In fact, when we started publicizing this program, some people were sending us messages to say, you guys have made a mistake. PDP, they will put question mark there. So what is driving you, Mr. Ogbeide Ifaluyi-Isibor? What is this? This table you are shaking. What is going on? Our viewers want to know what is the driving force.
Well, thank you. I have been a member of the PDP since 1999. Some of us got in pretty early, and we have contributed immensely to the growth and development of the party. We have been at the forefront of the PDP in Edo State for the many years we're in opposition. And just like you rightly introduced me, although some don't agree that I'm a chieftain, but whatever the case is, I'm a member of the PDP. I've been actively involved in the PDP. We've helped to win elections. I've been spokesperson for campaigns at different times. I have led, struggles for the PDP. I've led protests for the PDP. So I think in my own right, I deserve that title, if at all. 2023 is a redefining year in our history. And some have asked me that as a member of the party, just like you have done, why are you deciding to jettison the idea of the party to support a particular candidate and wishing to support a different individual? And I try to make it clear that it is not, and it has really nothing to do with Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, who is the party's candidate. I may have my own misgivings, on how he emerged, but that is irrelevant. The idea is now that he is the party's candidate, and you are wishing for a different man to become president against your party's decision. And I say, for me, it's very clear. In 2019, when Alhaji Atiku Abubakar was the candidate of the party, a lot of us gave our best for the party and for the candidate. We did all that was required to be done because at the point I felt that Atiku was a much better candidate than the 7 governments of Buhari. And since he played a major role in getting Buhari to office in 2015, perhaps he will be the best person now to get him out because we felt that the country was, at a stage where the people were distressed, people were in despair, the people were becoming very desolate. And so we needed someone to help us to turn the ship of the Nigerian state towards a different direction. And at the time, we felt Atiku was. Atiku, in my view, is a pretty decent gentleman who has achieved, in his private life and in politics. But today, I do not hold the view that he's the best person to lead Nigeria from the gutters where we have found ourselves now. In 2019, what we had was an economic glitch. People were in quandary of where to go. Are we going forward or are we going backwards? In 2023, we are having a disastrous catastrophe in the Nigerian economy, and in fact, indeed, all across the entity called Nigeria. So we need the best general to lead the army of the Nigerian people to progress and prosperity. And that's why I said, putting all these candidates on the pedestal and having to profile each one of them, having to understand and interrogate how they think, what they've done before, how their personalities, what they have the propensity to acquire.
I think it's like we're having a glitch there. Ogbeide was making a very, very good statement in answering Dr. Tony Agbon's question, and I think he was really doing it. Our viewers, please stay with us. We shall do everything possible to get Ogbeide's back.
He is back.
Yeah.
Yes. So I'm sorry for that little bit, So
It's a Nigerian factor, no problem.
I held the view that Mr. Peter Obi was the best person just now to lead us in a different direction because all that we really need is to travel on a different direction. That is what the Nigerian people need. And it is not just about Peter Obi. To be honest with you, it's not about the Labour Party. It's not about Peter Obi as an individual. It's a desire by the Nigerian people to salvage themselves. It's a desire by the Nigerian people to save their lives. We want to tilt towards a different scale. We want to travel along a different path because there's no hope in the direction we're being led to right now. The life of the average Nigerian is in shambles. where we cannot have a decent living for ourselves. It is really sad that we have found ourselves in such a catastrophe, and we cannot afford to play the party card. We cannot afford to submit ourselves to the foolishness of loyalty to say, oh, because I'm a member of the party, and I think that my candidate is not the best person we need to lead the country, but regardless, I'm going to support that person. I don't fall in that school of thoughts that have relegated the importance of common sense and common reasoning to the background just to prop up something they call party loyalty. To me, it doesn't make any sense. And that is the number one reason why I'm supporting Mr. Peter Obi, because I have confidence in his capacity. I have confidence in his competence. I have confidence in his commitment. We have x-rayed his life as a human being. We have x-rayed his past achievements as a governor. And we have put all these things into consideration. The Nigerian state, we need a change of the mind right now, not just a change of government. We need a change in mindset. The only way Nigeria can move forward, the only way we can make progress, is not just changing a government, but changing the way we do things. And that starts from the mind. That is what Peter represents. Peter represents hope, that the Nigerian people today can hope that, yes, things have not been working well for us, but we have hope that there's a better tomorrow. A man without hope has no reason to be alive. And up till now, Nigerians have been hopeless. That is why many people have not participated in the political system for a long time, because they have no trust in the political system. They have no hope that things will get better. They have lost appetite in the Nigerian state. But what has Peter done? He has become the appetizer.
Yeah.
He has become the appetizer that has built up some yeast that the Nigerian people feel that, yes, with this yeast we can rise, we can move forward, we can make progress. There's a semblance of a direction if we have a Peter Obi as president. These are just some of the few reasons why I unapologetically support Mr. Peter Obi. And I do not consider what I'm doing anti-party. I do not consider it wrong into any reasonable adult, because this is the right path to take.
Thank you so much, Ogbeide Ifaluyi-Isibor. You are raving the machine, and we are here to help you distribute that. Two things come to mind. Peter is the yeast and an appetizer. Nigeria indeed need a change of mind. Viewers, it's 49 days to that very big battle, February 2020, February 25, 2023. We still have in the house Ogbeide Ifaluyi-Isibor. Get ready at some point. The lines will be thrown open so that you can ask your questions. But like I said before, if you are still there and you have not made up your mind, what are you waiting for? Ogbeide Ifaluyi-Isibor is a shining and a beaming example, a strong PDP stalwart, rooting seriously for the emergence of Obi. His mind is changed already. He's part of the appetizer and he's part of the yeast. Komelante Kwaosa Araki, can you serve Ogbeide Ifaluyi-Isibor your question?
Thank you very much, comrade former sister Iremira. Mr. Engineer Ifaluyi-Isibor, honestly, listening to you, I'm just in love with you, really, to be honest. It just so happens that I'm a man like you. I am sure that many women in my position right now will be falling over for you. Not just because of what you say, but because of your presentation. We can feel you in your words, we can feel you in your spirit. And the beauty of it is that you are bringing a dynamism to Nigerian polity that is strange to very many people. We're not used to that. You are a member of PDP and you are endlessly rooting for a candidate of a different political party. In a very established and our very established climb, your party members will consider that anti-party. But I'm not driving towards that direction. Your passion for Obi definitely is evident, is rock solid. If Obi becomes president, would you still remain a member of the PDP? If yes, Why? If no, why?
Thank you for the question. A political party, in my view, is but a vehicle upon which political actors engage in a contestation of power or a contestation of ideas to get elected so they could deploy the resources of the people to their benefit. I don't think a political party in itself is all encompassing, but the people who make up the party. When Peter was in Dallas and someone asked this question, because I was one of the guest speakers at the conference he had in Dallas, I was invited and I spoke. I said, as long as I remain in the PDP, I love the ethics and the ethos of the PDP. I have never for once imagined leaving. And even till today, I don't think I would leave. If Peter becomes president tomorrow, and for some reason he says, Ogbeide, I want you to participate in my government, and he feels that the only way I can participate is join the Labour Party, I will refuse it because that would make no sense to me. Am I joining to rebuild the country on a partisan basis or on the content of my character or on the content of my abilities? So that's what it should be. I do not see myself leaving the PDP, in case Peter Obi wins, the presidential election. And even if it doesn't, that doesn't change my stand. I will still remain in the PDP and do what I've been doing. We have elections at the lower levels in the Senate and House of Reps and House of Assembly. Some of my friends are running for office, and for the ones I feel that okay, yeah, I can vouch for your commitment. I'm supporting them. So it's not a Labour Party thing or a PDP thing or an APC thing. We are drawing down to the individuals. What can this individual bring to the table? That is where our democracy is driving to. I had friends who were Republicans, but came out to campaign and vote for Joe Biden in the last presidential election in the US. So we must ascend our politics to the level where the individual's capacity is what really matters and not the political platform upon which he's running because people could swing from party to party as they please. Peter Obi was in the PDP up till 6, 7 months ago. So he still has the PDP in his blood. And there are many big wigs of the PDP. We've seen governors, serving governors in the PDP, endorse the candidacy of Peter Obi. Some are even running for office under the PDP platform, but they're saying that, listen, for the sake of our future, not for ourselves now, for the sake of the Nigerian future, for the tomorrow of our lives, what can we bequeath to the next generation? It's politics. Is it not a relay race where you finish your round and you hand over the baton to the next generation? That is what it should be. Politics should be centered about the collective goal and the collective benefits of the people. We cannot, at this time of our lives, submit ourselves to the coloration of the political party against the conscience of the people and what will bring them the most benefit. So while I understand some people who are not really pleased with me for the role I've taken, they have a right to their grievances. And I owe nobody an apology. But the point is that we are moving forward, we're making progress, and we're focused on our direction.
Thank you so much, Ogbeide Ifaluyi-Isibor. Viewers of the Comrade Show, the lines will soon be open so that you can ask this very dynamic gentleman all the questions you've been wanting to ask. I will be coming straight to Dr. Tony Agbons after this. But Ogbeide Ifaluyi-Isibor, I just want to ask you this. You are close to the grassroots. What are the feelers about this campaign? What are you hearing? And what will be your advice to the Obidati movement, especially as we run into the very next 7 to 8 weeks of this campaign?
Well, we have a couple weeks before the election, and to be honest, there are still some grounds to cover, and that's what we're doing. And for the Labour Party, my little worry is that we are not meeting up to the requirements as we will be required on the election day, having to have party agents across all the polling units across the country. And I'm very sure that the party is working very hard on that, because what will be the purpose if after all that we're doing, we're not going to have enough men on ground that day to make sure that our votes count and to make sure that we're not cheated. But as regards the wish of the people and the direction they are willing to tilt towards, is the same across the country, from the south to the east, from the north to the west. The average Nigerian is obedient. The average Nigerian wants better for his life. The average Nigerian wants to move in a different direction. The average Nigerian wants to save his life. Of every 10 people you ask in Abuja today, and I'm not trying to exaggerate, of every 10 people, 8 of them are obedient. 8 of them are saying that there's hope in this man. And many of them do not care what party he comes from. Many do not even know what region he comes from. But they are moving with not a bandwagon, but they are moving with the consciousness that the Nigerian people generally are yearning for a change. If you go to Benin, it's even worse in Benin. Some people even feel that they are more obedient in Edo State than they are in Anambra State, where Peter Obi is from. But it's the same in Jos. Go to Plateau State in Jos. The people are saying the same thing. Go to Kaduna, they're saying the same thing. You go to Delta State, they're saying the same thing. All across the nation, there is a rebirth of the consciousness of the average Nigerian people. The youths in Nigeria, the middle-aged people, we are pulling in one direction. There's a sense in which the people have a unanimity of purpose for 2023. There's a sense in which the people have a unanimity of ideas. We are saying that, yes, we have had these two main political structures, since for the last decade and a half. But now the people are not even talking about political parties anymore. They are all zeroing down to the quality of the individual we have. This is way beyond Peter Obi. This is a youth revolution in Nigeria. But has it not been the case that in every clime, in every society, where there has been a paradigm shift in the way things are done, it was engineered by the young people? In the Turkish Revolution in 1908, was it not the young people? In the French Revolution, in the Korean Revolution, in the Arab Spring, in the civil rights movement in the US, the cry for the removal of apartheid in South Africa, was it not the young people? We have seen the young people through the ages come together at every point in time to say, okay, we have had enough. We now want to travel in a different direction. And we're seeing it also across Africa. A few months ago, the beautiful country of Malawi, that great country of Hastings Kamuzu Banda, we saw the young people pull in one direction to elect a new president. We saw the same thing in Zambia, that beautiful country of Kenneth David Kaunda. We saw young people pull in one direction. We saw the same thing in Angola, that beautiful country of Agostino Neto. Young people pull in one direction. We saw the same thing in Kenya, that beautiful country of Jomo Kenyatta. Young people pulling in one direction. It is time for Nigeria. This beautiful country of Obafemi Awolowo, Nnamdi Azikiwe, Sir Ahmadu Bello, the young people now are pulling in one direction. And what are we supposed to do? We are going to contain, we are going to retain, we are going to maintain this momentum until the election day to make sure that we are not just pulling in one direction, but this Tower of Babel that the Nigerian state is made up today of different languages, different tribes, different religions, is a Tower of Babel. We are going to make it become a power of Babel. But even if we have different tribes and different tongues, we are all going to say one thing on the election day, because the median age of Nigerians is 18, even across the African continent. We have more young people under 30 than any other age bracket. So that is the future of Africa. That's the future of Nigeria. We cannot afford to toy with it now. 2023 is a defining year. If Nigeria misses it this year, we would never get back to where we're supposed to be. We will continue to beat below our economic weight. We will continue to beat below our social weight. We're going to be below our economic weight as long as we don't get our politics together. We must have our politics together so that we can bear a hygiene in our political system. Hygiene where we have decent healthcare. Hygiene where people can travel from Benin to Asaba without getting kidnapped. Hygiene where we can reduce infant mortality. Hygiene where we can reduce maternal mortality. Hygiene where children can go to school and get educated in record time. Hygiene where, having gone to school, acquired education, people can be deployed to the system and be productive for the society. That is the kind of hygiene that Peter Obi brings to the table. And that is why I cannot understand when anybody appears to prop up a different candidate in this election. Because we know who these men are. We have profiled their lives. We know what they stand for. They have no stake in the Nigeria of tomorrow. These are men who are in the evening of their lives. These are men who are in the departure lounges of their lives. They have no stake in the future of Nigeria. How then can we submit our lives to men of yesterday? How then can we submit our future, the future of our children, to the men who have sustained the pilfering and pillage of state resources? How then can we submit ourselves to men whose only creed is greed? How then can we submit ourselves to those who have engineered a rotten nation? Chinua Achebe once said that where are the suckers that will take over when the old bananas die? A banana tree bears suckers and hands over the baton to his suckers. But what do we have in our political system today? We're having the old bananas not just refusing to die, but sucking out the life from the suckers. Where again is the future? Where you have to buy your party member nomination form for 100 million naira in a nation where 67% live in poverty, where we have about the highest level of poverty across the world. India is 1.4 billion. China is about the same amount. We are just 210 million. We have the highest level of poverty on the planet. Is that a joke? How can it be that we have 20 million young people out of school? How can it be that our inflation rate is 22%? How can it be that we're having a debt of 77 trillion to be handed over to the next government? How can it be that we have the highest infant mortality across the African continent? How can it be that we have the highest maternal mortality rate in the world? You see, when people say they've not made up their minds on who to vote for, it smacks up as being very ignorant. And I celebrate such ignorance and psychophancy because there is no choice to be made. It's not about A, B, or C. No, we really do not have a choice in 2023. Don't make no mistakes. It's not about APC or PDP. It's about the future of ourselves and our children. So it's not about I'm thinking, I'm looking at the manifestos. No. Anybody can put up a beautiful manifesto. But if the character of that individual does not appear to fall in line with what he's saying, that is why I'm bemused and bewildered when people support a Tinubu, for example, who is refusing to engage the Nigerian people, who is refusing to have his life or his lifestyle interrogated by the people, who is refusing to answer questions. And he's making a fool of the people. He's making mockery of us, telling us that it is his turn. Your turn to do what? It is your turn to retire. And February 25th, Nigerians are going to retire him and Atiku Abubakar. Thank you.
Ogbeide, Ifaluyi-Isibor, I was thinking if you really are an engineer, you were vibrating on all cylinders. I can see the passion in you. Nigerians, Ogbeide Ifaluyi-Isibor is letting us know today, the 8th of January, that there is no choice before us. The only choice is just one, and that of Obi Dati. He has spoken to the consciousness of youths especially, because our future is being toyed with. And we have a responsibility come February 25, 2023 to make that decision. And he has told us in clear terms, the decision is just one way. Obi is the only answer for now. Viewers of the Comrade Show, fans of the Comrade Show, our phone numbers have been displayed. Pick up the phone and ask this gentleman who is doing something that is uncommon for Nigeria that question you want to ask. And he has asked you, why are you saying you haven't made up your mind? The choice before you is crystal clear. Dr. Tony Agbons.
Yeah. If I don't even know from which angle to ask Engineer Isibor a question now, because his deposition is just is very, very cerebral. Is my brother, you are a real polyglot, and I'm so happy that we are in this generation together. The question I want to ask you is this, and I'm going to start with a very popular Bini proverb, and I will translate it. The Benis will say that "Emi nokbe emani du uwo toye." That is, they said the drum that is beating for the pigeon,
It's underground.
is under the ground. Many have said that you may be working for the G5 governors, the integrity group. Many have said that you may have been heavily settled, in the Nigerian parlance. And many have said that you are doing this because of maybe probably a ministerial position that have been promised to you. But these are conspiracy talks and all that. But my brother, listening to you, I can see why you are vibrating the way you are giving these vibes. I want you to talk to the global Nigerian people, both at home and in diaspora. What essentially is the reason why the worst keep leading the best in Nigeria?
Well, thank you. Thank you for the question. And to be honest with you, in answering that question, the fault, one will want to reason and find and imagine that why is it that we have been unable to elect or select from amongst ourselves leaders that would better our country? Because leadership is one of honor and it's one of privilege, and it is given in trust by the people that those who are selected or elected may deploy the resources of the people to the general good of the largest number of the people. So, if we are to blame the African problem, or if we are to blame the Nigerian problem on leadership, whose fault is it? Is it the people who have been unable to select good leaders? Or is it that we are all destroyed as a people, that no matter who we select, the people turn out to be, in quote, evil? Because check it, since 1960, we have been the ones selecting or electing our leaders. And it has been the same circle. We have been hovering around the same circle for so long. And the greatest disadvantage the African people have, like many have said, is squarely on leadership. It is because of poor leadership. That's why we don't have decent health care. It's because of poor leadership. That's why we don't have decent infrastructure. It's because of poor leadership. That is why greed is the creed of the average Nigerian, not just about the leaders alone. Today in Abuja, you are driving on the streets. The propensity for people to beat the traffic light is so high. And I wonder, what manner of people are we that even when it is showing red, I mean, to some people it's green. Some people don't even care if there's a street light. And that is the way of life of the Nigerian people. But that is not the way it is across the African continent. Some countries are waking up. Botswana, for example, that beautiful country of Sasere Sekama, is waking up. Ethiopia, for example, that beautiful country of Haile Selassie, is waking up. The Gambia, as small as they are waking up. Mozambique, as small as they are waking up. African countries are waking up. It is left for the Nigerian people to decide if we're going to wake up now or continue to sleep. We can blame leadership all we want, but the followership, are we not also culpable in this? if we're going to fix culpability where culpability is, everybody shares an equal portion of the blame, the leaders as well as the followers, because the leaders are selected from amongst the
From all the
people
followers.
who are made up of the followers. So that is where it is. So we must change the minds of our people. That is why I'm enthused about the Peter Obi candidacy. Because for me, it's not just about the changing of the government. For example, I have never heard of any governor since the return of democracy in 1999 that left billions of naira for his state after 7, 8 years. We have never heard of it. The last person who did that was late Yaradua, who left some money aside in Katsina State. That was what we used to campaign for him in 2007. Since then, it is unheard of that a governor leaves wealth for his state. What we are used to is debt. What our governors traditionally leave for the incoming government is debt. But that is not the case with Peter. Where have you heard his past governor say that since I left governorship 8 years ago, my state has not bought me pure water? Where have you ever heard it? Where have you heard a governor, a former governor, say that go to my state and verify if you can see any plot of land that I allocated to myself while serving as a governor? Say it and I will stop my campaign. Where have we heard a governor say that I do not collect pension or gratuity from a serving governor after 8 years? Where have we heard the governor say that I did not steal one kobo of the number of people money for 8 years? Where have we heard anybody say it? Where have we heard a politician tell you that these are my records? Go and verify. And if there's anything wrong as concerning my records as a state governor, I will resign. We have never heard that before. That proves my point that a different mindset is coming in. A man who tells you that the way I can stop corruption is if I do not steal.
Yeah,
Really, if the governor doesn't steal, the deputy governor cannot steal. So the
absolutely.
commissioners cannot steal. It all
Yes.
starts with leadership.
Yes.
So what we require to change the shape or the culture of the Nigerian economy today is by changing the mindset of the people.
Yeah.
If we have a president tomorrow who stops by the traffic lights, nobody will be the traffic light. If we have a president tomorrow who, when he falls ill, he goes to the national hospital or the Aso Rock clinic, we won't have people travel. It pains me, to be honest, when I think of Buhari having served 8 years as president. After 8 years, our president has not been able to equip one hospital in the country
For him,
where he can
for
do
himself.
his routine medical checks.
Yes.
After 8 years, you still go to the UK, you still submit yourself from the extra colonial masters for your healthcare. You are not only failed as a human being, you should not be considered as a living thing. Because what excuse can it be? Meanwhile, we budget billions every year
Mm-hmm.
to healthcare. We budget hundreds of millions every year to the Aso Rock clinic,
Yes.
the very clinic in Aso Rock. So if after 8 years, the Aso Rock clinic has not been equipped enough to do a routine medical check of the president, God is punishing us. And we cannot even pray to God because He's not going to listen to our prayers, because He will say that, Nana Sabi, you have elected fools to govern you. That is why you have remained where you are. It's a shame, a big shame that even the APC is bold enough to seek for political power. They should have been stoned wherever they go to campaign, because they have been a failure. Not just failure, but failures in gigantic proportions. And Nigerians should not fold our hands and smile when we see these mental hobos, when we see these derelicts run over all over the place with taxpayers' money, asking us to vote for them. Go across Abuja. 90% of the posters you see are for Tinubu and Shetima. I feel so angered. And the people are angry. The more the posters they see, the angrier the people are, because
Yes.
if we will not get to the seat of power, we will not allow them continue to steal from us. We will not allow
Absolutely.
them continue to rape us. We are going to take our destiny in our own hands. With our PBCs, we'll change the system.
Thank you so much, Ogbeide Ifaluyi-Isibor. And I want to sing this song. When I remember Nigeria, water run away me, water run away me. When I remember Aso Rock Clinic, water run away me, water run away me. Thank you, Ogbeide Ifaluyi-Isibor. The water is indeed running. Komilati Pausaraki, your question.
God bless you, my brother. God bless you, engineer Ifaluyi-Isibor. You are vibrating. You are speaking my language. I adore you. I respect you. It takes a man who understands, who knows what the time is to speak as you do. As Christians, the Bible tells us that the children of Issachar, they knew the time and they knew what Israel ought to do. And the fundamental question is, do Nigerians know the time? And consequent upon that, I want to ask you, sir, to remind Nigerians, because somebody asked me what my New Year resolution was for 2023. And I told the person that my New Year resolution is to do everything humanly possible to get Peter Obi elected. That upon the election of Peter Obi, other resolutions will be built. However, the outcome of the election on the 25th of February 2023 will determine what my resolution will be for the year 2023. Fundamentally, sir, can you, in the spirit of this understanding that we need to change the course of our nation's history, tell Nigerians what should our resolution collectively be for Nigeria in 2023? Like Obedient Pharmacist Austin will always say that this year, this election is going to be a watershed moment for this country. And the Bible says, it says iron sharpeneth iron. And, the gospel of Christ is power unto salvation. But we need to hear, to understand the gospel before we can actually have that power. Probably people have not heard enough. Sir, can you make them hear what it should be this time?
So to be honest with you, I think the Nigerian people, we understand where we are and we understand the difficulties we face. You don't need anybody to explain to you. As long as the person lives in Nigeria, the problems we're facing. Last year, the present government were making so much noise about us, producing rice, but no longer importing rice. But then that begs the question. If you go to any market today in Nigeria, you'll find imported rice. Where does it come from? If we are no longer importing rice, where does the imported rice from Thailand and Malaysia come from? If we have become self-sufficient, why is the price of a bag of rice going higher every day if we're producing it? So the average Nigerian understands that the quality of lives we live depends on the quality of the government that we have. And the quality of life that we live depends on the quality of the society that we live in. And the quality of that society is directly proportional to the quality of those in government. A nation cannot excel beyond the capacity of her leaders. And a people cannot progress beyond the opportunities available in that society. So Nigerians are acutely aware that we cannot continue the way we are right now. Every person you walk across on the streets, you can see his face, there's no smiling on his face. The people are visibly in despair. And they know what to do. No, but you see, the Peter Obi revolution is a Nigerian revolution. It has nothing really to do with Peter Obi as an individual. The people are tired. They have come to a point where they understand that we cannot play the game the way that's always been played. This is not business as usual. For you to see 7 governors come out to say, apart from the fact that we have issues with our party, but we think this candidate is better. For you to have 7 big wigs in the APC, like Baba Lawa, come out to say, yes, I'm an APC chieftain, but I support Peter Obi. For you to have President Obasanjo come out to say, young people, you are the ones who are mostly affected by poor leadership. Take your destiny in your own hands. We had the same thing for Debanjo. We had the same thing for Chief Edwin Clark. We just had the same thing recently from this man from Ekiti.
Yeah.
We are hearing
Afe Babalola.
we're hearing chieftains, we're hearing elder statesmen, many of whom are in the departure lounges of their lives, trying to tell us that it is not about us, but it is about you. What do you want for yourself and for your children? Do we want to have in the next 10 years, children are born in Nigeria and when there's power outage, they're used to it? And suddenly when power is restored, they shout, hey, NEPA. That's how we were raised.
Yeah,
I don't want to raise my sons like that.
that's our
I
story.
don't want to have the same thing the next 20 years. We are still excited and jubilating when power is restored. That is madness. We have smaller African countries who have delivered themselves from that foolishness. So why can't we do it? We have no choice, like I said. Today, we have to change the course of our nation. We have to change the quality of our lives. Forget about Peter Obi as an individual. That's a multi-billionaire. If he doesn't win the election, he continues his life. What of us, the average Nigerian people? Are we better off today than we were in 2015? Are we better off today than we were in 2019?
Because they're
I think
coming.
we are happy to
Because
call
they're
her.
coming.
Should I
Okay,
go
can you
ahead?
just pause for a moment? Let's take that call.
Okay.
Hello. Hello. Yes. Good afternoon. Please, what's your name and where are you calling from? Go ahead, sir. We can hear you, Dr. Douglas.
Thank you to Ogbeide, Ifaluyi-Isibor engineer. You are speaking my mind. In fact, almost brought tears to my eyes with your deposition. My main question is, what is your advice to the Obida movement and with respect to the northern part of Nigeria in terms of doing more campaigns there and getting to the rural areas there? Thank you.
Okay. Did you get a question, sir?
Yes, I did. And that is a question that a lot of obedience are asking, especially those of us in the south, because we don't seem to have a grasp, on what is going on in the north. But there's a challenge that we're having, and this is being honest. The Labour Party is not a new party, but they have never gotten to this level of awareness or this level of politics before in their history. So for the first time, we're having the Labour Party break her bounds. We're having the Labour Party, stretch her arms farther than she ever dreamed possible. So yes, we're having challenges in the northeast and the northwest. And when I mean challenges, I mean in the villages, not in the cities, because over 60% of Nigerians live in rural areas. So we're having a little bit of a challenge reaching the rural areas. But that is why we are intensifying our northern campaign. And we're having to put monies together because the party cannot fund this by itself. So individuals, private people are having to put monies together to fund our support groups in the north because they have a great task ahead of them. One, they are playing the game of religion in the north. They are playing the game of ethnicity in the north. And the PDP has been accused, and we have seen that happen severally, of using Peter Obi's picture on their campaign posters in the core north. Because even those in the rural areas, they can sense the vibration from the south that there's a certain man called Peter Obi that appears to be the most loved, and they're having that consciousness now. And so the PDP is trying to make them feel that, oh, well, the Peter Obi is in PDP, so vote PDP. So that is where we have a lot to do, because the man in Kafanchan, in Kaduna, is he living a better life
Oh,
than
not
the
at
man
all.
in Lagos?
Not at all.
The man in Maiduguri, is he living a better life than the man in Benin?
Not
We
at
are
all.
all facing the same problem. We are all in the same crisis. So, and let nobody fool anybody. Peter Obi is very popular in the north. He is indeed very popular in the north. All we're trying to do now is to cascade that popularity to the hinterland, to the riverine areas, to the villages. And even if we're not able to do all, we're going to put 100% effort to make sure we do all we can. But again, what we really need from those regions are 25%. What we really, really need from those areas is that does not mean that we don't need a lot. We need a lot, and we're doing a lot, but we are focusing also on where our strength is, because we don't want to make people feel that, oh, because we have the south, so everything is fine. No, we are focusing on the south even more, even as we are popular there. We're putting a lot of effort there, but we're also making sure that we're making gains into the north, energizing our northern friends because they understand the terrain, they understand the language. So funding is what we're doing, a lot of that. And this is private pockets now. So if you have, a support group who is doing so well, in Abuja or in Jos or in Kaduna or in Kano, give them the little bit you can. That's how we fund elections in the West. We're having the leaders who support campaigns. That's what we need.
Engineer, I'm a very practical person, okay? And just before former Sister Remira comes on, I'm a very practical person. From your standpoint and from what you know, okay, from this broadcast, what do you think that the average Nigerian who supports, Peter Obi, what should we do now to fill some of these gaps? In the meantime, can we take this course so we can come back to this line of discourse? Hello? Hello, can you hear me? I think we've lost the call. So what should we be doing? Because the poll that came out the last time, the ANA poll, it shows clearly that even as we speak, I'm putting it up here, in the north central, Obi appears to be having a very good, percentage. 16% is timed up with what's his name, with Bola Ahmed Tinubu. You understand? Meanwhile, he's doing well calling the Northwest, where previously in September it was on 4%, and right now it's risen to about 8%, and all of that. So looking at this, some promising numbers appear to be coming from the North. But the issue we talked about the hinterlands, the villages and all of that, what should we be doing now, to galvanize effort towards that direction, practically?
Yes. Apart from funding, we are nominating ourselves to become party agents for the Labour Party on election day. And so many of our members, many of our PDP members now I'm talking about, who are in those areas, especially in the northeast and the north central, we are organizing ourselves to say, okay, apart from us campaigning for Peter, let us make sure that we elect or select ourselves to be party agents for the Labour Party on election day, because most of us, we've done this thing over and over for PDP. We know how the game is played at the polling unit on election day. Because when they say, oh, Peter has those structures, what are they talking about? What do the structures really do? A day to the election or 2 days before, money comes from federal. A day to the election, everybody goes to party chairman's house or the governor's or government house to collect money. All local government chairmen are there to share the money. They take it to the local governments. Then ward chairmen come there, collect the money, take to the units. The unit leaders, they take their money to, so they put money aside for INEC, money to bribe INEC. They put money aside to bribe police. They put money aside for civil defense. They put money aside for touts, to hire touts on the day. And they put money aside to bribe voters. And now we're excited that we're seeing young people say that, oh, yes, we know that this issue will come up. where they want to bribe voters. But we are committed to voting for our conscience. And I was happy when I listened to the INEC commissioners say some days ago that INEC is modifying the voting process, that now we're really going to have ballot boxes aside, and we're going to have the voting cubicle covered such that when you go to vote, nobody can see where you printed.
Yeah.
Because before now, when people print and they collect money, you have to raise the ballot paper up so that either the police on your side or the party agent on your side will see it. Then you can collect the balance of the money.
Yeah.
But INEC is saying that they're going to eliminate that now. So
Very
even
good.
people that are bribed, there will be no way they can ascertain if the person who you gave money to voted for a candidate. So we are making sure that apart from being Labour Party agents, we are recruiting people from our communities that will stand aside us that day to also be agents. So the
Okay.
plan is to have 3 agents per
Okay.
unit.
Okay. Doctor, Pharmacist Remina, please, no manual. Let me just follow this line to some conclusion. Sir, I would imagine that some people who watch this broadcast, they want to volunteer themselves, okay, as agents. From your standpoint right now, where should such persons go and put their names down or something so that we can fill these gaps?
Yes, right now I would suggest that anybody who is willing to be a Labour Party agent, you could reach me on Facebook. Let me know your name, let me know your ward, let me know your unit where you'll be voting, so we can find a way of putting all this information together to find out if there's already somebody we have there in that particular unit. They're not okay, you are just going to be a backup. But people who want to play a role on election day, let's pull in one direction. Let's all come together. I'm not a member of the Labour Party, but I have, strong friends who are in the campaign council who have access to the Labour parties across the states, and we can put people in those boxes to tick those areas. Especially, if we have more of those people in the North Central, in the Northeast or in the Northwest, we'll be very glad. But God, we know that majorly in the South we are covered, but that does not mean we don't need more hands. We need people there to help to monitor. So even if you are not a Labour Party agent, you are making sure that nobody is going to come there to intimidate people. You are going to have your phones there to make recordings. When you see people who are giving money, people who are trying to manipulate the system, you are showing evidence. So we need as much people as we can in the different units on election day. So whoever is interested, please reach out to me on Facebook or on Instagram or on Twitter. I'm available on all those platforms. Let's put all this information together and send your names forward.
And look, Nigerians, let me quickly just say that, please, if you are there, you are watching this broadcast and you don't have, you don't know how to reach Engineer Ifaluyi-Isibor, you could equally just reach us on the Comrade Show. We will direct you to the right places as far as this matter is concerned. Like we've always said, we are all in this together. Every role is important, no matter how small it may seem, no matter how big it may seem. So for those who are very obedient, you want to be volunteers, you want to serve one, purpose or the other on election day, please, and you don't know where to reach, if you can reach the Comrade Show, reach the Comrade Show. Then we'll send your names to the appropriate quarters, of course, so that this things can be harmonized. We must get this done and get it done rightly. Thank you very much. Over to you, Pharmacist Remira.
Thank you so much, Comrade Late Bonsaraki. I must thank Ifaluyi-Isibor and to thank our caller. That question is very important, and I think you answered it very well. Just to support some of the assertion you made. Only yesterday, I was speaking with a Reverend Father who is from Taraba State. He is a Reverend Father, a Christian, but he is from the north. And he said something similar to what you said, to say that those undecided voters have actually decided, but because they live in the midst of a huge population of other ethnic, other religious group, they are scared to say what they want to do. And he assured me that Northerners of us fair are fully resolute and they are in support of Peter Obi. I just wanted to say that just to add support to what you said. Dr. Tony Agbons, I will ask you to ask Ifaluyi-Isibor some questions. Just before you do that, if you want to take some comment from our different social media handles, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Dr. Tony Agbons.
Yeah, I'm doing some collation on the YouTube, Facebook engagement. I'll go to that maybe in the next cycle. But I want to
Okay.
ask Engineer Ifaluyi-Isibor this very pertinent question. My brother, you are, apart from being the coordinator of PDP for Peter Obi uh, group, you are also the director of mobilization, Nigeria Diaspora Youth Coalition. So this one, some people have been asking me, oh, these people diaspora, una get PVC, una they vote, what you una own for inside. So I want you to, kind of explain to our viewers worldwide, what is the role of diaspora? Or are they just making noise because they live abroad? Please throw some light into this.
Well, the diaspora community, for those who do not know, have helped to sustain the GDP of the Nigerian nation. In the last 3 years, remittances from the diaspora has cumulatively been about $22 billion in the last 3 years alone. So the diaspora play a major role in the quality of lives we even live even today. And of course, because they play a major role financially, they also have a political voice. They have families here. So even if they are not resident in Nigeria, they have families here who are Nigerians who will be voting. So, of course, if they have a voice, their families have a voice. For the Nigerian Diaspora Youth Coalition, we are just an assemblage of young professionals in the diaspora who engineer and pursue the ethics of good governance in Nigeria. And we are not a political group, but for the sake of 2023, the board sat down to adopt a candidate, and we unanimously adopted Mr. Peter Obi as our candidate. So what we are doing now, apart from giving contributions to support groups in Nigeria, we are sensitizing young people. We're training them, on ICT. We're training them on how to to put this some of information that will be required on election day together. We're equipping them with gadgets that they would use on the election day to make sure that there's proper monitoring. We are enlisting some of them as unit agents, like I said before, in different wards and different units. We are trying to, build in the average Nigerian youth the consciousness of taking responsibility for the political future of the nation. We're having our friends go from university to university, sensitizing the young people that you must be actively involved in politics. You must pick up your PVC. You must make sure your friends have their PVC. We must ensure that our voice should be heard in 2023. So there's a lot the NDYC is doing for 2023, but originally we are just a congregation of professionals from across all the entire diaspora who fight for good governance in Nigeria. But for the 2023, we are all obedient. That has been our resolution.
Splendid.
Thank you. Let me just before I hand back to you, Mr. Remiran, because I love working with figures and data. Engineer Isibor mentioned $22 billion in current day exchange rate. That's about 21 trillion naira.
I think we have a caller.
Yeah, let's
Hello.
see.
Hello.
Yeah. What's your name and where you calling from?
Okundaye Ofayabo is my name.
Go ahead, sir.
Thank you so much. My question to Mr. Ogbeide is actually, well, first of all, let me say, yeah, Mr. Ogbeide, you are a unicorn. You are a unicorn. Let me begin by saying that.
Yeah.
But my question to you actually is, where would you put this campaign as far as Nigerian politics is concerned, especially when you just pose it with two presidencies in our lifetime that we never experienced? I mean, the presidency of Obafemi Awolowo, the presidency of Chief MKO Abiola that we never experienced as a country and as Nigerians. So
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. If I got your question correctly, you were talking about the two presidencies that would never had, and there's a certain fear amongst the Nigerian people that this one is just going to go in that same direction, where Nigerians, unanimously in large numbers supported the Awolowo presidency and the Abiola presidency, but the both governments were truncated, at the time it was. Well, I don't have that fear, to be honest. I don't have that fear now because the political maturity we have now was not existent then. Secondly, the awareness that the Nigerian people have now was not very evident then. And thirdly, the Nigerian youth are the major driving force of this campaign, and we have the largest population, we have the largest voting strength. And I can tell you, the political class will not dare do anything that will cause the Nigerian youths to congregate in a violent way. We cannot. We saw how the NSAT protests, happened. Should anything happen in 2023, I'm not a prophet of doom, but I am very hopeful that nobody wants to joke with Nigerians this time around. The international community is watching. We've had several polls. So the international community, they have a sense of the direction the Nigerian people are taking towards. So if something happens, Peter wins the election, and for some reason somebody is trying to truncate it, we'll have to forget that Nigeria existed. And that is not to make anybody afraid, but that is what is going to happen. And God knows that's we're not going to get there. We're going to allow democracy thrive, and we're going to have an elected leader whose election will be as a result of the generality of votes, legible votes that the people cast on election day, and that's what it will be. But again, we cannot be naive to assume that some people in some quarters are not foreseeing something like that happen. And I'm hoping for the best. I don't want to imagine what Nigeria will turn out to be if the votes of the people, are subverted and somebody else that didn't win the election is announced. It is better unimagined.
Thank you so much, Ogbeide Ifaluyi-Isibor. I put it to you from the question asked by Okundaye that 2023 election is going to be very different. And like I often say, it's going to be a watershed moment. I think a new Nigeria is possible. I think Nigeria will continue. And I think Peter will be the next president. Why I want to ask you this question, I was speaking with a friend 2 days ago, and he emphasized the issue of money because Nigerians are indeed very poor and they can be swayed by even something as small as 500 naira. And I became even more scared when Afe Babalola, in his statement very recently, said that the next president of Nigeria would be determined greatly by the amount of cash that person can spend. Also, too, there has been information here and there, news coming from different states, that people working for the Obi movement are complaining that they are not being welfareized and money is fast becoming a big issue. Putting all this together, are you concerned? What do you think money will do? And how will the Labour Party come out of this? Because we must keep our eyes on the ball. Money is indeed very important.
Absolutely.
You've asked a great question. And to be honest, I understand the role that money is required to play in a presidential election. I understand that even as people are volunteering their time, their resources, and their energy to put into the campaign, they at some point may run out of personal funds and require support, from the party or from the campaign organization, even if they're just volunteers. Elections all over the world are expensive, and money plays a vital role, in campaigns. And I'm hoping that we're going to, assist the campaign organization in raising more money. Because if you watch how elections are done, in the US, for example, Even after the election, on election day, you are still getting calls, you are still getting emails, you're still getting text messages asking you to chip in $5, chip in $2, chip in because you do not stop spending until after the whole process is concluded. So the Labour Party, to be honest with you, does not have the financial capacity to procure this election by itself. The Nigerian people have to get involved. And that is why I celebrate what our brothers in the diaspora are doing. Our $1, our £1, our €1 is playing a major role. That is what is really sustaining this campaign. The Labour Party is not sustaining the campaign. The obedient movement is what is sustaining this campaign. And that's because we are pulling in one direction, we're putting our funds together, and that's what we'll have to do. There's no other way. I do not hold the view of Afe Babalola SAN that the election will be won by the greatest spender. With due respect to him, I think he really doesn't understand what's going on in 2023 because as a very old man, his reasoning, in the level he had here, we've always understood, where money buys votes. The Nigerian of today is not ready to sell his votes for 1,000 naira. That may not be the same for everybody because poverty is a weapon. The elites have weaponized poverty so that they make the people so poor that whatever is given to them on election day, they see it as big. But the people have become so bastardized that they understand the game of these thieves. So even if some are saying we're not going to take their monies, some are saying, well, we will take their monies, but we'll go to our
Yes.
country.
No, it's still our
Now I
money.
understand that money plays a big role in campaigns. Money will not play a big role in the stealing of election in 2023. Let us understand something, that this issue of money is prevalent more in the South. In the North, there's no, this vote buying thing is not amplified in the North. What they use mostly there is tribe and religion to sway voters. But we can also see that it has not been as effective as before.
As it used to be.
Even the Northerners are waking up today. Buhari, let me tell you why Buhari has not been featuring in the APC campaign. The man understands that his government has been a failure.
Definitely.
For the first time, the president came out to tell the world that I have done my best, but I know that Nigerians are not happy with my best because my best was not good enough. That's an attestation to his failures. And to be honest, we celebrate that the man is honest enough to tell us that he has failed. That's why he's not going to Kano. That's why you're not seeing him in Kaduna. That's why he's not in Katsina. That's why he's not in Zamfara. He's not in Gombe. Because what is he going to tell the people? They told them in 2015 that Jonathan was the reason why the poverty has sustained and remained. They told them in 2015 that Jonathan was the reason why Boko Haram was prospering in the north. They told them that Jonathan was the reason for all their woes. But it's been 8 years after Jonathan. What is the new story? Are they not poured on the way in 2015? Are they not? We're having over 40 communities today under the control of bandits in the north. Even in Katsina State, where the president is from, he had his convoy attacked. We have never had that before in the history of our country, where the convoy of the president is attacked. And those who attacked the convoy, they were not hiding. They said that we'll do it again. And they told the president that when you retire, don't come home. Stay in Abuja because we are waiting for you at home. The man knows he has failed. And the APC knows that they have failed. That is why we've not been seeing the president play a major role. So while money is an important factor, where we will need to contribute our little monies to the Obidati campaign organization, we must understand that the role money will play in stealing the election is minimal in 2023.
Thank you, Ogbeide, for answering that question. I think that gives a ray of hope to so many Nigerians who have been bothered with this attitude and this question because the opposition is using it to play. There is no gainsaying the obvious that President Muhammadu Buhari is the campaign manager of the Ogbeide movement, because his failure is elucidating to everybody, and that is giving at least that hope that Nigeria really need a change. And I come to the issue of diaspora. I want to tell the diasporans that everyone diasporan is entitled to a minimum of 10 votes, even though you don't have your PVC. We have our benefactors, we have friends, we have people that listen to us. Don't be put up with the fact that, oh, I don't have PVCs. The 1, 2, 3 persons you encourage, that would also deliver vote for the Ogbeide movement.
Let me add something real quick, sir.
Yeah.
The Edo 2020 election was a pointer to the fact that the diasporans had a major stake in how votes turn out to be.
Absolutely.
For the first time, we saw people run after those who were sharing money on election day.
Yes.
So beat them up and take the money from them.
Yes.
We never saw that before. The APC shared more money in Edo election 2020, but they lost woefully. So
Yes.
the people there's a reawakening in the minds of the people. We are going to prevent you from sharing money. When we can't prevent you, we will take the money, but we will vote our conscience. So I want diasporas to understand that their voice should even be more now. You don't have to have your PVCs. Your siblings in Nigeria, your friends in Nigeria, they must know the direction you are taking. It's not a case of go and vote your conscience. That nonsense will not happen now. That you go and vote. They don't even have a conscience. If you are feeding them, if you are sending money to them, you are the owner of their conscience, and you will tell them the direction they're going to vote for, and they have no choice.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Ogbeide, Ifaluyi-Isibor, viewers of the Comrade Show, friends of the Comrade Show, followers of the Comrade Show. I think it's been a very interesting one. Exactly 1 hour, 22 minutes on the clock. We still have with us a true Nigerian, a man I describe as a man of uncommon courage, a PDP stalwart rooting seriously for Peter Obi. He's been talking to us. He will still be with us for the next few minutes. I want to appeal to all of you. If you have your questions you want to ask, please pick up the phone. Our phone numbers have been displayed. Ask Ogbeide Ifaluyi-Isibor those questions, those very pertinent questions that have been bothering you, that indeed you want to ask. He has charged us this evening. If your energy is not filled, he has filled it. He has been firing and filling our batteries ready for this task, which we believe come 2023 February will all be over and we'll be marching to victory. Dr. Tony Agbons, I know you are ready to take some comments from Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter handle. If you are ready, can you take the mic, please?
Yeah, thank you very much. Our anchor for the day, obedient pharmacist Remiran. So I'm just going to quickly take some. Please, I want to first of all apologize if I'm unable to read yours. This is just a random pick from me. I have here Ken Hale. He said, "We don't want all these old, irresponsible, so-called cabals. Nigeria belongs to all of us." This is from YouTube. And your child also on YouTube said, "With the beavers and electronic voting, the rigging will not work. That is why PDP, APC are scared." Reclaim greatness. He said, "I think we are so weak as Nigerians. That is why we have few individuals playing with our future." That's a strong one there. And then Sunday Osazua, he said, "Obidati for presidency, Federal Republic of Nigeria." So I moved to Facebook. I have this one from Andrew Legema. He says, "I really appreciate what you guys are doing. This is my opinion. Mr. Obi should be a little bit lively on stage when speaking to the supporters. Examples, dancing, running, etc. All work and no play make Jack a lazy boy." That's a bit comical there, Andrew Legema. And then Collins Ikide, he said, "This is the new Nigeria we desire. A political system devoid of partisan, religious, and ethnic sentiment. Well done, Engineer Isibor. Maximum respect." So there are lots of comments, a lot of engagement from our viewers worldwide. But because of time, we just thank you all.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tony Agbons. Ifaluyi-Isibor, I can't thank you enough. You've set the ball rolling in a different dimension and direction. The energy is positive and is vibrating. There's kinetism everywhere. I just want to say thank you very much. Do not relent. Continue your effort. I know you are a very busy man. We are going to try to end the show within the next 5 minutes. On that note, I will just ask Dr. Tony Agbonso, Komilate Bonsaraki, very short questions to give Ifaluyi-Isibor some time. Hopefully, in another 5 minutes, the program indeed would come to an end. Just if we have any question, if not, I'll go straight to Ifaluyi-Isibor. Komilate Bonsaraki, do you have any question for the gentleman here?
Right now, my brother, I think we have been dealing with questions and answers, Q&A, all through this process. I honestly, at the stage we are right now, I think we are counting just a few weeks to the election. I think it's time we start dotting our I's and crossing our T's, because in readiness for the election. So the only thing I want to ask, sir, I want to believe very strongly that Obi will be president-elect by the 27th of February 2023. Sir, as a PDP stalwart, a lover of Nigeria, one who is putting Nigeria first before party, one who is putting Nigeria first before any other thing, which I believe is your driving force for your presentation, of course, for your posture. What would you have Obi do in your own scale of preference when he becomes president to be sworn in on May 29th, 2023?
For me, I would, if he was right here and I was to give him my advice, as much as I understand that he understands the problems like we all do and has a clear-cut, pattern on how he wishes to solve the problems, I would suggest that first of all, we must consider how to resolve this insecurity challenge that we're having. Just yesterday, a train was attacked in Ogbeide, in those states,
Yes.
and people were kidnapped. And they were having to see that sustained pattern. It happened in Kaduna, it's happening again in those states. That's to tell us that, there's unease across the nation. So we must have a clear-cut solution to these pockets of insecurity across the country. And he must be able to reorganize our security system. I don't see any reason why we cannot get to a point where we have, cameras on our streets. We can get to that point. We can start from the FCT. We can start from, step by step. We can start to re-engineer, our security architecture. We need to hire more men into the security agencies. That's what we cannot afford not to do. We need to do that. And the moment we have been able to put these insecurities under control, then we can begin to develop our economy. And when I say develop our economy, I'm not looking forward to us exporting things, in the next 10 years. I don't even think we should focus on export right now, apart from our petroleum products. Let us focus on feeding ourselves. A country of 220 million people with over 67% living in poverty, there's extreme hunger. If we can afford to create a plan, maybe a 10-year plan, that in the next 10 years, we're going to be self-sustaining, self-sufficient in food production, we are going to more than triple our GDP. There will be a considerable reduction in our considerable increase in the value of our currency. When Nigerians feed themselves, when he talks about moving us from consumption to production, many people do not understand what that means. There's nothing wrong with consumption. In fact, the more you consume as a society, that shows the success of that society. That shows the earning capacity of that society. That shows the income ratio in that society. It's society that is consuming. Of course, for a population of over 200 million, we should be a consuming nation. But what are we consuming? That is where the problem is.
Thank you so much.
If we are consuming what we are producing, then we've put ourselves on a clean slate. But if we are consuming what we import, that is not sustainable. So the food we eat, the rice we eat, the yam we eat, let us feed ourselves first. That will reduce drastically the poverty we have. That will increase the value of our currency. That will more than triple our GDP. That will prosper our nation. That will reduce insecurity. You imagine the sweetest pineapple in the world is made in Benin. Why can we not have pineapple juice processing factories, 2 or 3 in Benin City? Then you will have thousands of young people wanting to set up pineapple farms so they can supply the pineapple manufacturing factory.
Yeah.
Then we can have our pineapple across the. We don't even need to export yet. We have enough mouths to
Market.
consume our pineapple.
Yeah.
When you go to the market in Abuja, they tell you this now bended plantain. You want bended plantain because the plantain that comes from Benin and from Sapele, it's delicious plantain.
Oh
Why
yes.
can't why can't we have a plantain processing factory in that region so we can have young people run into the farms to produce plantain so they can supply to the processing factory in their neighborhood? That is solving the problem of unemployment. We have 33.4% unemployment. All we need to do is to focus on feeding ourselves. When we can feed ourselves and sufficiently feed ourselves, then we can talk about exporting. That is how China made it. That is how India made it. And when we now do that, then we can now focus on not exporting our raw materials, but adding value to our raw materials. Are you not ashamed as a Nigerian that over 60 years since independence, we still import the fuel we use in our cars? We export crude oil at maybe $70 per barrel. But when it is refined, it is almost triple the price.
Yeah.
And that's what we use. Are you not ashamed that even the
Ogbeide,
crude that we
Ogbeide,
produce? Yes, sir.
we need to bring you back.
Oh,
We
definitely.
definitely need to bring you back. Time is not always our friend, but you have been a delight. That is why it is because of you today that we are not having any calls. Everybody is listening to you with rapt attention.
Yeah.
We really, guys, we really need to bring him back. Dr. Tony Agbons, not a question, just a comment, one liner as we begin to round up.
No, I'm not asking a question. The engineer Ogbeide has said so much, but engineer Ogbeide, we are getting to the peak of the election now. Okay, so I want you to just, this is a one-liner. I don't know how many Nigerian languages you speak, but if it's the Benin language, Pidgin
I'm
English,
speaking English.
I want you to just talk to Nigerians.
One liner.
One liner, because we are this is for the optics, and we are going to really zoom in on this. We are going to share this. Just briefly, talk to them.
Yes.
This suffer never tired them.
If we go move forward for our lives, now that PVC and we need for 2023. Without your PVC, all the noise we they make not go make sense. Because the only weapon we will fit change our lives, make we better the country for our children. Now that PVC, INEC don't give us open window to go collect our PVC. Will not be one of those who will give excuse. So say, okay, the line too long. If the line too long for you now to get PVC, the fuel line where they stay 2 days, you know long. If we not make Peter be our president, we go to queue for bread by this time next year, and the line go long. So make you not say excuse day to say, oh, the place far, or the sun too much, or the rain they fall. Make everybody go collect their PVC. That's the weapon we will go use to drive these bad people. Not for us around.
Ogbeide, please, can you talk to them in Benin language?
I wish I could, but my Benin is not as fluent as yours. So forgive me for that.
Thank you so much, our viewers. What an honesty. We've been with Ogbeide Ifaluyi-Isibor, a true Nigerian. He has been engaging us today and talking to us on the need why we must make a very good decision if you've not already made it, that there's only one choice in the card, and that is Obi Dati. Thank you so much, Ogbeide Ifaluyi-Isibor, for joining us today. I must thank two of our callers who called all the way from two countries in Europe. Douglas Oko, who called all the way from Sheffield, United Kingdom, and our good brother Okundaye Obayagbo, who called all the way from Holland. For our viewers, for all you've done, your comments, we appreciate you. We say continue to remain focused, remain obediently obedient and useful until we come your way next Sunday. Collect your PVC and continue to be obedient. God bless all of us cacabolically. Bye from now.
Comrade Show, wait, Comrade Lante Oriente. This is the Comrade Show.